Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. A sense of sorrow spread throughout the hall. Everyone's expression changed, and they revealed looks of compassion. The 6 grand elders also frowned, deep in thought. Only the ancestral elder on the throne in the middle still had his eyes closed, and his shadow kept shaking in the light. Mo Kabei's eyes shot out a sharp light as he shouted, "Mo Wanfong, the rules of the clan are the most important. As the grand elder of the clan, you actually tried to interfere with the execution of the punishment with your own body. This in itself is a violation of the rules and should be severely punished." He pointed at Mo Xiaochuan on the ground and shouted coldly, "If he's forgiven again and again just because he's Mo Dushan's son, then what's the point of keeping the clan rules? I don't deny his father's contributions to the family, but I've already forgiven him twice, and it's long been offset." His shout immediately dispelled the sorrow in the hall and turned it into a sharp and solemn atmosphere. Everyone silently nodded in agreement with Mo Kabei's words. If he wanted to convince someone, he would have to punish Mo Xiaochuan severely. Mo Wanfong raised his head, his face covered in blood, and growled, "Mo Kabei, don't think that I don't know what you're planning. It's not Brother Dushan's contribution that will make up for Xiaochuan this time, but my cultivation." He suddenly circulated his qi in his palms, and the golden emperor qi of the 9 heavens shot out, about to hit his dantian. Mo Wanfong wanted to strike first and gain the upper hand. He wanted to cripple his martial emperor cultivation to win the sympathy of the grand elders and the crowd, so that they could let Mo Xiaochuan off. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect Mo Wanfong to be so unyielding, to give up his cultivation without any attachment. It was clear that he was extremely protective of Mo Xiaochuan. "Uncle Wanfong, don't." Mo Xiaochuan, who had been lying on the ground on the verge of death, suddenly let out a blood-curdling shriek as an aura burst out of nowhere. The tears mixed with the blood flowed into his mouth, and he couldn't tell if it was bitter, or fishy. His body, which had long been injured and unable to move, actually forced itself up. His 5 fingers dug into the bluestone ground like hooks, leaving finger marks. The 6 grand elders sitting at the head of the table were all shocked. No one expected Mo Wanfong to be so decisive, and it was too late for them to attack. The elder on the throne suddenly opened his eyes. His illusory body seemed to become more solid, and a strange power emerged from his body. He looked directly at Mo Wanfeng's palm print. The golden emperor qi that was about to hit his dantian suddenly overflowed from his palm and dissipated like smoke. Pa! Mo Wanfeng's palm landed on his elixir field, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. However, the emperor qi had already dissipated, and his dantian was not shattered. He was only seriously injured. Ancestor. Everyone was shocked and quickly looked at the illusionary figure on the throne. A hint of disappointment flashed through Mo Kabei's eyes. However, since the ancestral patriarch had made a move, even the 6 grand elders did not dare to disobey. They all waited for the decree. The ancestral elder's gaze fell on Mo Xiaochuan. After that attack, his figure seemed to have become fainter, and his voice seemed to have come from the netherworld. "This is Do Chen's son?" "Yes, great ancestor. He's Mo Xiaochuan, big brother Do Chen's only biological son." Mo Wanfong hurriedly dragged his heavily injured body and knelt on the ground. "After big brother Do Chen passed away, I've been raising Xiaochuan. Wanfong is willing to bear the punishment for his poor discipline." The ancestral patriarch's voice was emotionless and faint as he said, "Do Chen has a divine body and shocking talent. He's the most promising person in the Mo family for thousands of years to reach the ultimate realm of martial arts. I didn't expect him to die so early. I have a certain responsibility for this." However, his son, Lao Ai, raised his eyes and glanced at Mo Xiaochuan before sighing. "A tiger father and a dog son. He has very mediocre talent. He only reached the Tri-Elements realm at the age of 8 and didn't even have the qualifications to enter the Mo family's elite pavilion. Wanfong, you're truly foolish to give up your entire cultivation for such a son. Elder, if it wasn't for big brother Do Chen saving my life, I would have died in the war," Mo Wanfong said with determination. I've always treated Xiao Chuan as my own son, and it's the father's fault for not taking care of the child. I'm the one to be blamed, so I naturally have to be punished for my son. Mo Xiaochuan's 10 fingers were already buried in the ground. His thin and frail body trembled as he cried, "Uncle Wanfong, I'm useless. It's not your fault. Grand-elders and grand-elders, if you want to punish someone, please punish me. It has nothing to do with Uncle Wanfong." One of the grand-elders in the upper left corner suddenly said coldly, If it wasn't for Wanfong protecting you time and time again, you would have broken the clan rules and been chased out. You're a disgrace to your father." His sarcastic words were like a sharp blade, cutting through the heart of an 8-year-old boy. Mo Xiaochuan gritted his teeth in pain, unable to even let out a groan. "This is the last time," the ancestral patriarch sighed. "After this, if you break the rules again, you will be punished according to the law. There is no need to alarm us. We will obey the decree." Everyone stood up and bowed. The shadow of the ancestral elder closed his eyes again and gradually disappeared from the throne. Mo Wanfong forced his injured body forward and helped Mo Xiaochuan up. Another child ran out from behind Mo Wanfong. He looked at the bloodstains on Mo Xiaochuan's body in fear and clenched his fists. "Brother Xiaochuan, I'm going to become a great alchemist in the future. If you get beaten up again, I'll be able to help you." Mo Xiaochuan lowered his head. Although the injuries on his body were severe, they were not as painful as the knife-like pain in his heart. "Huayuan, let's go." Mo Wanfong picked Mo Xiaochuan up and left the torture chamber. There was a clamor of discussion behind him, and the people of the Mo family left one after another. If not for Mo Xiaochuan's special status, he would not have called for a meeting with the entire sect. Mo Kabei's face was filled with maliciousness as he looked at Mo Wanfeng's back and didn't speak for a long time. When the crowd dispersed, there was only one Taisheng elder left. It was the one who had spoken earlier, and also Mo Kabei's father, Mo Pingxi. He looked at his son, who was deep in thought, and asked doubtfully, "What are you still thinking about?" Mo Kabei said, "Father, the ancestral elders have doted on Mo Xiaochuan too much. I can't believe you let him go for the 3rd time. This is really hard to accept." Mo Pingxi said, "This is the decision of the ancestors. Who dares to disobey? As the clan leader, you should just act according to the rules. As long as you don't use your power, no one will say anything bad about you." Mo Kabei sighed, "That may be true, but this is such a good opportunity." Mo Wanfong almost destroyed his own cultivation, but the elder was still able to save him. Just what level is the ancestral patriarch's cultivation? Mo Pingxi's face was filled with fear. He paced back and forth in the empty hall and finally said, "The ancestral patriarch's cultivation is heaven-defying. You don't have to guess. Even if Mo Wanfeng's cultivation is still there, he won't be a threat to you. Mo Xiaochuan's aptitude is mediocre, and he has let down father's courage in the past. Their bloodline will not be able to rise again for hundreds of years, so you can safely be the clan leader. However, I want to tell you that power and wealth are just fleeting clouds. Only martial arts is the ultimate goal of people of my generation. Yes, I will follow father's instructions." Mo Kabei humbly lowered his head, and the two of them disappeared from the hall. At night, in the Mo family's courtyard, Mo Xiaochuan knelt on the metal pole. The hundreds of hooks on the metal pole had pierced into his tender knees, and the ground was covered in blood. Mo Wanfong looked at the bright moon in the sky with a cold expression. His eyes were filled with loneliness. Mo Huayuan looked at Mo Xiaochuan's legs, and his heart trembled. He grabbed Mo Wanfeng's legs and pleaded, "Father, Brother Xiaochuan is already so badly injured. Please don't punish him anymore." Mo Wanfong kicked his son away and yelled, "Get back. If you continue, I'll make you kneel too." Mo Huayuan cried and begged from a distance, not daring to come closer. Under the moonlight, Mo Xiaochuan's face contorted in pain, but he forced a smile and said, "Huayuan, this is none of your business. It's not the first time I've knelt on iron edge. It's very comfortable, and it's also a kind of cultivation." Mo Wanfong shook his head. He looked up into the endless night and muttered to himself, today is the time of the valley rain. That person should be here by now. Why is he still not here? Mo Xiaochuan's brows had long been twisted in pain. He asked in confusion, Uncle Wanfong, what did you say? When your father was still alive, he had promised someone that they would meet in the city of Black Iron under the bright moon and sky during the rainy season this year, Emma Wanfong said. It's already time, but why is he still nowhere to be seen? Mo Xiaochuan raised his hand and pointed at a huge osmanthus tree in the courtyard. Is it that person? Mo Wanfong was shocked. He looked up and saw a white shadow flashing on the osmanthus tree. It was a white figure shuttling under the moonlight, laughing heartily and reciting a poem. Where is the soul of a hero? Harmony does not see old friends. The morning wind blew at the willow and the moon, and that year, Lan Shui fell into my dreams. The white-robed figure stepped on the water like moonlight and stepped out in the air. He blended in with the surrounding environment, like a celestial being in the dark night as he slowly descended. However, his face was filled with desolation as he sighed, I just found out that Mo Dushan is dead today. I didn't expect this trip to the city of Black Iron to be in vain. Mo Wanfong was shocked. He didn't know how long this person had been here, but he didn't even notice it. His cultivation base was truly unfathomable. Are you Gu Feiyang? He asked hurriedly. The white-robed figure looked at him indifferently and said, it doesn't matter. What's important is that Mo Dushan is dead. He missed the meeting in Black Iron City, said Jiang Chen. Then, the man in white raised his middle finger and made a disdainful gesture. Mo Wanfeng's jaw dropped, and his face was filled with black lines. He said awkwardly, my brother has already died, how can you say that I didn't fulfill the appointment? The man in white snorted, if you're a man, you'll have to go to the appointment even if you die. It seems that your Mo family doesn't have any integrity. I won't accompany you any longer, so I'll take my leave. His face clearly showed his displeasure, and he was about to step on the moonlight and leave. Mo Wanfong was anxious. He had been waiting for this person to ask for a favor, but before he could say anything, the other party was leaving. What should he do? Hold on. Mo Xiaochuan's tender voice rang out as he stood up from the metal pole, trembling. His legs were shaking like chaff, but he did not cry out in pain. Instead, he pointed at the white-robed man in the sky and shouted, I'll fulfill my father's promise to you. My father didn't break his promise. The Mo family is a family of honest people. The man in white looked at Mo Xiaochuan in surprise and chuckled. Kid, you're quite ambitious. If you want to go on your father's behalf, we'll talk about it 30 years later. Mo Wanfong took the opportunity to say, Gu Feiyang, this man is the son of my big brother. Wanfong has a favor to ask of you. For the sake of big brother, can you take him as your disciple and take him away from Black Iron City? The white-robed figure was Gu Feiyang. He looked at Mo Xiaochuan and said, your ambition is commendable, but Mo Wanfong, you must be joking. This kid's talent is extremely mediocre, and it will be difficult for him to even become a martial supreme in this life. What are your intentions in throwing this burden to me? Mo Wanfong was anxious. Mo Xiaochuan's current condition was no longer suitable for him to stay in Black Iron City. Didn't you make an appointment with Big Brother because you wanted to see the Mo family's unparalleled divine skill, the Thousand Expedition noble art? As long as you accept him as your disciple, I'll demonstrate it to you. Mo Xiaochuan was in disbelief. Uncle Wanfong, no. The Thousand Righteous Noble Art is the biggest secret of the family. If you were to spread it, you would be sentenced to death, and you would also implicate Huayuan's little brother and aunt. He had sneaked into the clan's forbidden grounds several times in order to secretly learn this clan protection treasure, the unrivaled technique 1,000 feet noble art. He didn't expect Mo Wanfong to promise to show it to outsiders so easily. Although he didn't teach it to them, he had already violated the rules of the clan. Gu Feiyang's expression immediately disappointed Mo Wanfong, and he even felt despair. He originally thought that the other party would be moved, or at least hesitate, but he did not expect that the other party would only sneer disdainfully and mock, only Mo Dushan and your ancestor, who has lived for who knows how many years, can display the essence of your Mo clan's thousand spirit noble art. As for the rest of them, sorry, but to be fair, they're all dog.
Shh.
Asterisk T. I'll only feel contempt if I see them. You coward. Mo Wanfong was furious, but he could do nothing about it. The other party's strength was unfathomable. Just from the fact that he didn't know when he had come to the small courtyard, he knew that he was definitely not this person's opponent. The decision to accept a disciple or not was up to the other party, and he had no choice. Uncle Wanfong doesn't need to beg him, Mo Xiaochuan replied. Father once said that those who know will not speak, and those who speak will not know. This man is boastful, so I don't think he has any real ability. How can I be better off following him than following Uncle Wanfong? Gu Feiyang's expression was still indifferent. He chuckled and said, a child knows how to goad others into action. Besides your father, there is no one else in the Mo family who is useful. In addition, with your humble talent, you won't be able to make it big no matter who you follow. What an arrogant tone. Suddenly, a cold shout came from the sky. The space in the courtyard was distorted, and two people walked out together. It was Mo Kabe and Mo Pingxi. Both of them had cold expressions on their faces. They looked at Gu Feiyang indifferently, and then their eyes fell on Mo Wanfong. Wanfong, how dare you? Mo Pingxi shouted coldly. As the first elder of our clan, how dare you leak our unparalleled secret art? Mo Wanfeng's expression changed drastically. This crime could not be pardoned. Otherwise, not only would Mo Xiaochuan be punished, but his entire family would also be executed. He immediately denied, Grand Supreme Elder Pingxi, you need evidence to speak. Mo Pingxi's expression changed slightly. Even though they had heard what they had said, they had been targeting Mo Wanfong for a long time. Their words would not be convincing, especially if the ancestral elders would not believe them. It would not be enough to deal with Mo Wanfong. All right, just you wait. I'll first capture this brat who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth, and then make him confess that he conspired with you to learn the family's secret art. Let's see how you'll deny it. A cruel smile appeared on Mo Pingxi's face. Mo Wanfeng's face changed, and he said, Gu Feiyang, run. He was deeply afraid that Gu Feiyang would be captured by these two people and forced to reveal that he had leaked the family's secret art. If that happened, he would lose the entire game. Gu Feiyang, right? Kubei, have you ever heard of this person? Mo Pingxi snorted arrogantly, a look of disdain on his face. Mo Kubei was also in a good mood. He chuckled and said, I think I've heard of him before. I think he's a 9 Heavens martial sovereign who's appeared in recent years. He seems to be quite famous on the continent. However, since they dared to break into our Black Iron City, they must have some unparalleled skills. Father, what if we can't beat them?
Ha! Ha! Ha!
Mo Pingxi also stroked his beard and laughed. Kabei, then you'll have to ask him for advice. A martial arts practitioner should have the spirit of shamelessness to ask others. Yes, father. Mo Kabei laughed contemptuously. In his eyes, Gu Feiyang was like a grasshopper that could be crushed at any time. Once this is settled, the ancestral elders will naturally take back the 1,000 feet noble art from Mo Wanfong. I'll ask the ancestral elders to teach it to you then. Mo Pingxi said. Mo Wanfeng's face turned pale. By go back, he meant to destroy his cultivation. Thank you, father. Mo Kabei was overjoyed and said excitedly. As the Mo clan's clan head, he was not qualified to cultivate the 1,000 spirit noble technique, which had always been a sore point. At the thought that he would soon be able to possess the family's unparalleled technique, his aura burst out as he stared at Yunxiao with killing intent in his eyes and laughed. Kid, I really have to thank you this time. Gu Feiyang looked at them talking to themselves for a while and said, a little speechless, 2 lunatics.